Connors, Degrassi, Unpopular Opinions.
Hey there, hi there, hello there. It's Jeff Cutter and welcome you to another Degrassi Unpopular Opinion. Now, this unpopular opinion comes from season 4, which I'm guilty of doing a lot more of season 4 by CDUOs than any other season. I mean, I didn't understand too much about seasons 1, 2, and 3. Basically, after season 8, I stopped watching Degrassi as a whole. Well, mostly because, I just felt bored of it. I watched part of Next Class, but didn't really understand Next Class, and that's all stuff. So, yeah. And a lot of people probably would say in season 4, like, why am I doing season 4 as a whole? Well, because it just changed Degrassi. It went there. Like, it goes there, it went there. So, I've spent a lot of time talking about the storyline, like the Orange Ribbon campaign that was supposed to get Rick out of Degrassi after Raj did not buckle to the students and just kick Rick out or gently push Rick aside. When Rick came back to the school, the students were upset, especially with the fact that, Raj refuses to listen to them, and Raj, of course, yelling at Emma saying, "Stop these stupid crusades. Are you nuts?" But the simple fact is that the Orange Ribbon campaign has something to do with this. Now, I did a video about the Orange Ribbon campaign and the fact that, what the dark underbelly, that Emma didn't all, it wasn't all to get rid of Rick. It was for Emma to gain friends because Manny and Liberty left her high and dry after what Emma did about trying to ruin Liberty and Chris. And Emma deserves some flack for it, trust me. And also the fact that, she just wanted to stick it to Radish because Radish says all these things were wrong. I mean, the students also took the Orange Ribbon campaign as kind of a way for mob justice or basically saying, if they won't do anything about it, we'll handle this matter ourselves. We'll take matters into our own hands, if you will. So I did a post a while ago, and it says, unpopular opinion, Paige may have some fault with how Emma was shunned up to time stand still. And no one commented on it. So it gives me free reign to basically explain myself. Anyway, so as we all know, Paige was upset that Rick was coming back to school with no strings attached, and decided to get Emma to set up something to force Rick out without breaking rules. Emma was right for the picking, as she was excluded from Manny and Liberty's friendship because of her trying to ruin Liberty and Chris going out. They do the Orange Ribbon campaign, but it turns into bullying Rick to force him out. Force him not being silent. Not being silent. I don't know why I put that there. Although some students did it to tell Raj that they don't like him doing nothing about the situation. Emma almost gets a check from Rick before Alex rips it up. Paige tells Emma to not have sympathy towards Rick. Emma decides to prove her loyalty, quote unquote, by tripping Rick. Then the clique beat him up, thinking he's going to hurt Emma. Emma saves Rick from a massive beating and gets scorned by the clique. Emma may have started the Orange Ribbon campaign, but she ended because it was turning south quickly. My point is that it seemed that Emma was alone with no boyfriend and no real friends, unless you want to count the quiz team, Wacky Brain team. And that's who she was hanging out with, mostly after Mercy Street, making sure she was easily in Rick's path. The key explanation I can think of is that after turning on Paige's ideals and saving Rick, Paige used her queen bee status to maybe spread stuff about Emma that got people to avoid Emma at all costs, and that's why she was with the Quizbowl team more so, and sadly close to Rick. I think there's another theory, but I can't think of it. Unfortunately, no one wanted to help me out on this. Can't blame them. So, yeah, it's like when you look at Emma between after Mercy Street and before Time Stands Still, it's like, how much exposure does she get? Not much. Who does she end up talking to? She ends up talking to Rick and Heather Sinclair and Toby on the Wacky Brain team. It's kind of strange how Emma was put on that team and Liberty wasn't. But I guess Liberty might have, but she didn't want to be on the team with Emma, so Liberty left. That move. Anywho, and it seemed that Emma didn't have any interactions. I know she wasn't the main character in any episodes before, in that 4-episode time frame. Like, Mercy Street was the 3rd episode, and Time Stand Still, I think, was the 7th. So, yeah, there was a 3-episode thing, and Emma wasn't the main focus in them. But it seemed that, Emma didn't really have much interactions with other students and all that. I mean, yeah, she was with Toby and Sean in Time Stands Still Part 2 before Rick was ready to kill her, seemingly. But it felt like, Emma was being shunned and all that. Emma being shunned by Manny and Liberty is one thing, and it's actually justifiable. But being shunned by the whole school because you helped Rick out? There's another thing that gets me a little nerve-wracking, is that if they wanted to destroy Rick, how come they didn't just take matters in their own hands outside of school grounds and take down Rick? But there's one simple answer. The police. They knew that if they hurt Rick outside of school, Rick would have been the victim, even if, Rick was the bad guy with his situation with Terry. The police would have snapped on them instead of Rick. So the police, in a sense, would be protecting Rick, quote unquote. But the fact of the matter for me is that, it seemed that Emma was just had bad luck. She wasn't in Manny and Liberty's clique, rightfully so, as I keep saying. But, she comes up with the idea to go into Paige's clique. I mean, Emma walks in on Paige and them talking about Rick and all that. It wasn't like it was planned, but Emma was just unsure about the Rick situation. They tell her about Rick, why he's back at the school. He's a psycho, and they need to do something. Emma says we need to do something about it. And after Marco and Alex don't get Raj to budge, Emma blocks Rick's path to walk, but Raj says, get out of the way. This is not one of your stupid crusades. This doesn't concern you. Okay, it doesn't. But domestic violence is a stupid crusade. And then, Emma confronts Paige in the bathroom and says, we need to do something. And no one's helping. So they do the Orange Ribbon campaign to help domestic violence victims and all that. And of course, it leads to Rick being bullied in the school, taking justice in their own hands if Radish or any staff member won't do a damn thing about it. Then, it just happens that way. So, simply put, Emma feels good about herself. But Emma is a little oblivious to Rick being bullied. Rick decides to give Emma everything he's got, more than $500, for the cause. Alex sees the checks and rips it up. I always thought that Emma was going to rip up the check herself. But when she found out how much money it was, well, she rejected Rick's check and then said $500. Then dollar signs were in her eyes. And then Alex rips up the check and rips Emma a new one. I mean, I get it with Alex, being victimized by her mom's abusive boyfriends, but still, yeah, like if she wasn't such a bully because of that, definitely should give her a lot of sympathy. But yeah, I don't think so. So the simple fact is that, Alex wants to cause trouble for Emma for thinking about taking money from Paige. Paige says, from Rick. And Paige says, no sympathy, Emma. Okay, fine. And then she trips up Rick. I think in an attempt to stay in the clique. Spinner and Jay beat up Rick outside the door. Alex is ready to go, and Emma says, no way. And then they say, your cause is over, Emma. No cause is worth this. And then, at the end of Mercy Street, all Paige's clique avoid her like the plague. And Emma explains herself that she only did it because it was the right thing to do. I think she kind of figured that Rick was going to have some goo-goo eyes for her. I think she was smart with that theory. So basically, Emma, all she was hanging out with was the Quiz Bowl team of Rick, Heather, and Toby. And then, of course, when Heather was taken out because of mono and Jimmy was brought in, yeah, she did kind of hang out with Sean in a sense. In Time Stand Still Part 2. And then Emma was easily spotted. And then people were just questioning Emma and all that. I think in my mind that Emma, probably felt betrayed that people would just ignore her because she helped Rick out. And she was just basically an outcast. Okay, fine, but Emma had the right to stop it because the Orange River campaign was to help with people with domestic violence. Emma didn't see the other side that, those people probably would get bullied to death. And Emma probably felt like she was going to get in trouble because she figured that if Rick got hurt and Raj snapped, Raj would have snapped on Emma and blamed Emma for everything. But Emma would have had it out. She would have blamed Paige's clique and says that if I get in trouble, Paige's clique is going to get in trouble. So, can turn the tables, and she did. She probably would, you know. And I feel that Emma wasn't really. People didn't really talk to Emma after having the gun pointed at her. That Emma felt like for there were a few episodes Emma didn't really have any problems and all that. Oh yes, Back in Black, but yeah, but she was fine. And then in Secret, she's very melancholy. People ignore her. Spike even Snake say that we don't have to walk on eggshells around Emma. Oh my god! No wonder Emma didn't really have much left. But Manny and Liberty did talk to her, so I guess the tragedy actually worked out that she got Emma and Manny and Liberty back as friends. Although 4 years later, 4 seasons later, I should say, in season 8, she wanted to latch on to Manny and Liberty. I know you don't want me to say, hey, you know what? This whole Rick Rude situation gave her a clingy friend face. It didn't completely did. It kind of did, but it didn't. Her clingy boyfriend face, girlfriend face, yes, absolutely. Try to find a boy, absolutely, but try to find friends. Yeah, it's funny how she was clinging to Manny and Liberty so much she managed to get them into the dorm room. Like Manny and Liberty were in the same room and Emma was elsewhere, but they could have hung out. They could have synchronized meetings, but no, Emma was clinging to them. And maybe it was season 4. Maybe it was because she learned that she had pushed Manny and Liberty away from her, and maybe that if she had Manny and Liberty in her corner, she would have probably saved. She would have known what to do with Rick. They might have given her advice, but she screwed herself over, and she probably in the back of her head figured that because of her actions, she deserved not having friends, and that caused her to be kind of a dick in a sense. But Emma's got a weird psyche. Anyway, I'm jumped on.